that age-old, phrase, history repeats itself. It's so freaking true, man. Like, history is just humans being humans, and humans tend to repeat the same patterns over and over. And if we don't recognize those patterns, and you can recognize them through history, I'd obviously argue as a Christian, you can recognize them even deeper through the Bible, through Scripture. You can learn to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past and the mistakes of our fathers. And if we're just tearing down our statues, then we're just creating a future where we're just going to repeat the same mistakes. Let's keep history alive, folks. Right? The South will rise again. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay, bud.
I'm going to have to edit that out. All right, welcome to The Body Aesthetic. My name is Matthew, and today in the virtual studio, we have brother Justin with us today, and we got a fun, interesting topic for you guys. Our friend here, Justin, is a Civil War reenact enjoyer.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about that. I mean, I know a little bit about LARPing, because I always thought LARPing was super cool, like particularly like medieval LARPing. Even in high school, for some reason, kind of modern U.S. history never really stuck with me. I was always more interested in like medieval Europe and ancient China and ancient Japan and the Middle East and stuff like that. So I never really like kind of took to modern history. I'm interested in hearing about what the experience is like in terms of, I guess what you guys do. Like, I think it's more than just LARPing, right? I mean, there's history involved, there's knowledge involved, and so I'd take it away and just tell us a little bit about that hobby.
Yeah, so it is more serious than LARPing, and but you can have the exact same amount of fun with it. Part of why I enjoy it so much is it's camping where I get to shoot at people, which, you can't do that at a normal campsite.
Oh, shucks.
So, yeah. Yeah. But I guess I sort of was the opposite of you. I was always interested in American history and especially the wars that we fought over here, the Revolution, the Civil War, Westward expansion. So for me, going into reenacting was just sort of a natural thing. And then also there's a lot more American Civil War reenactments to do than, say, a more serious medieval reenactment, which there are some. I've seen them pop up, especially like some Viking events and whatnot. I've heard of a couple of those, which that'd be a lot of fun, but they're few and far between.
You got the beard for it, so.
Yeah, the beard came after, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I started reenacting when I was 17 and clean shaven. So it was nice. 10 years later, I had the big beard, and then people were coming up to me and like, "Oh, wow, you look like you're actually from 1861." It's like, well, thank you, I guess. That is kind of the point. But so I didn't grow the beard for reenacting. They're happy accidents.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Yeah. That's I have to ask, Yankee or good old Southern boy?
I'm a Yankee. Yeah.
Yep. No.
Yeah.
Well, you are from the North, so that makes sense.
And that's entirely why. But I live in the South now. I'm down in Florida, and I'm really enjoying meeting a lot of rebels and hearing their side of the story. So, where I lived back home, the local unit was the First Nebraska, obviously a federal unit, and so in areas that weren't don't have the major battlefields, Virginia and things like that, you are going to have. We do have a Confederate unit up there, but mostly you're going to have whatever unit that state or territory sent. So Nebraska sent the First Nebraska for the Federals, so they're portraying that, and there's a lot of local history there. You can go to the very spot where the unit was mustered in Plattsmouth, Nebraska, and follow them all down throughout the Western theater there. So that's part of why. But then also, being born and raised in the North, you're up there, it's sort of, you know, pushed into you that North were the good guys, and just as I'm sure it is in the South, South were the good guys. So there's still, obviously, as everybody knows, there's this huge divide as to what happened 160 years ago.
Sure.
So
So that's cool. So like each state, like each uh, chapter, local chapter of like, I'm assuming this is under some kind of organization or maybe some association or something.
there's several, and we were at part of something called the Muddy River Brigade. So I don't know their whole territory, but there's not really like one overarching organization for the whole country that takes care of everything. Because at the end of the day, this really is just a hobby. Very few people are getting paid to do anything with reenacting, so it's all trying to work things out in your local area. And then for the big events like Gettysburg 150, any of the 150 events, I was really impressed with what they put on the ones I went to. But that's a lot of work involving a lot of people. Uh, all trying to get along and put on a good show, which there's a lot to be said for that getting along part. So
I bet. I bet. It's probably the same tension as it was back then.
probably, yeah. I mean, and I've only ever been a private, and I only ever want to be a private, so I want nothing to do with the organization. I want to show up and do my part, but trying to organize a herd of cats that are reenactors, no, thank you. I won't do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so I was gonna ask like about the local chapter thing. Like, so people in Florida, let's say, will form the same regiments that Florida had during the war. Like, they wouldn't be LARPing as like, I don't know, the California Brigade or something, or North Dakota, or I
Correct.
don't know.
Yep. Or Florida specifically, because I haven't done any reenactments down here, just been busy with other life stuff. But Florida, the units that are being portrayed here on both sides are units that were here in some capacity. Um, but like battleground states, all up the eastern seaboard, you're going to have both Federals and Confederate units portrayed in numbers. Whereas, someplace like South Dakota, they might just have a federal unit. Uh, that Nebraska, we did have some Confederates because we had some larger cities, so you get a variety of people who want to do different things.
Mm,
Uh, but at the end of the day, even when you're in an area that's only got one side of the story, you still need the other side for the reenactment. So I've gone rebel a couple of times just to
mm,
put on a show. Um, so you try to make it work, but then for the states where there's more going on, it's a lot easier to make it work because you're going to have a federal unit ready to go, you're going to have a rebel unit ready to go, and it's just a matter of setting a date.
mhm.
So
So do you guys like, what kind of audience comes to these things, if you do have an audience, and is it like a paid thing? Like, do you buy tickets? And
yeah, Um, so that it depends on what the event is. For the big 150 events, I remember Gettysburg, I think, was a ticketed event. Um, Wilson's Creek was the other one I went to. That may have been ticketed as well.
mm,
But uh, throughout the year, and especially when you're in, I don't know, years that aren't a big anniversary, like the next big anniversary is the 175. But throughout the year, you're going to have small events at either lesser known battlefields or literally just an open field that you're going to put on a living history thing or a local historical site at those smaller events, not ticketed, and it's a lot of families. And on Fridays, because usually it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Fridays, we've had a lot of school groups come in where it's
mm.
a field trip and they come and see what we're up to and everything.
That's cool. I
But
wish I did that as a field trip in school.
yeah, I would have joined a lot earlier
Yeah.
before 17 if I had seen this
Would have
when I was
lied
in.
about your conscription papers, like, yeah, I'm of
Yes,
age.
yes. Well, and what they used to do back in the days, guys who were under 18, they would write the number 18 on a piece of paper and put it under their in their shoe, and they would say, "I'm over 18."
Mm,
So they weren't lying, but they were 15, 16. there's a lot of great stories of people too young or women sneaking into the infantry. So yeah, I think that's one of the amazing things about our Civil War is any sort of way you want to look at it, you can find a way that relates because some of the things I've been reading about the time um, in their journals and stuff, people are writing that the days are full of events that would normally take years. So this was such a massive event, obviously, but everything in our society was wrapped up in the war and the battles, and it was a galvanizing moment like we've never seen before. 9/11 doesn't come any close.
Hmm.
So
So you mentioned journals. Like, do you actually read firsthand accounts of the
yeah,
war and stuff like that? Like,
yeah, I finished discovering the war in Florida, and this
huh?
is mostly firsthand accounts. So this was a great little read for having moved down here and being able to
Yeah.
find places in the state. But and then there was an account I read of an Illinois infantryman. His firsthand account. Now he wasn't in any like major actions or anything, but that
Hmm.
reading the day to day and the few fights he did get into, it's definitely interesting. I highly recommend reading firsthand stuff. But there so much ink has been spilled about this war that you
Hmm.
could read for the rest of your life and not not get through everything. So
But well, let me
yeah.
ask you then, and if you're not comfortable answering this, it's totally fine. I'm just curious because there's what we learn in school, and then there's like the real history, right, or whatever you want to call it. But like when you actually read firsthand accounts, you get a more clear picture of what actually was going down versus kind of just what you're getting through a textbook, written by
Hmm.
Joe Schmo that they arbitrarily decided was what you study in school, right?
Yep.
Um, are there any like unique takes, let's say, that you have on the war? And it doesn't have to be in a general sense. It could be in specific battles or specific parts of the war that you may hold that is kind of against the grain as far as what the mainstream opinion is.
Um, I don't think I have anything that is necessarily against the grain, but when you start seriously reading about it, you realize that it is infinitely more complex than anything you ever learned in school. I mean, I guess maybe one thing I have that is, not common in the North is that up there, everybody's like, "Oh, this war was entirely about slavery," and you
Mm,
read about it, and that's absolutely not the case. It was a factor, but it wasn't the end all be all. And then you read accounts of Union soldiers and what they thought about the Emancipation Proclamation, and they said things that cannot be said on YouTube against it. So it's infinitely more complex,
mm,
and people just don't realize it. They want everything to be black and white, you know, Yankee versus Confederate, and it's not. And it's frankly it's horrible, way worse than you could ever imagine.
mm,
I mean, there's uh, I think the like only good, interesting thing from the reading that I've been doing is when you take a step back and just look at overall tactics. You forget about the men, you forget about what's happening. Just look at troop movements. That's extremely interesting. There's
mm.
some really brilliant maneuvers that General Lee did and Grant in the West, but you got to take a big step back and put some blinders on.
Yeah, I mean, those two gentlemen, as far as I know, had great respect for each other, even at opposing ends of battle.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. Speaking of the Emancipation Proclamation, I've heard, again, I'm not like a U.S. history buff, but I've heard that was more, we learned about that as like this great moral, whatever, ethical victory that Lincoln, championed. But in Lincoln's mind, it was more of a political move, like to win the war. Um, Things like that. It's like, we learn in school that like all the warm fuzzy stuff that like, yeah, it's good versus evil. It's
Yep.
freedom versus slavery. But human history is way more messy than that, right?
Right, absolutely. It was definitely a move that pleased the abolitionists, but it, it was well calculated. He waited until after Antietam, um, which being a Yankee, that was a Yankee victory. So sorry, guys, but but he did not. The important thing with that is he did not release it after a very clear federal defeat because he knew and everybody else knew that doing that would have been like, oh, we're getting thrown back here. Here's a shot in the dark. So definitely political, but many Northerners liked it. Many didn't. Um, but that's where we go back to things being a lot more complicated. So
Well, let me ask you also, like, since we're Orthodox, as like an Orthodox, um, not perspective, but it's like, how many Orthodox people are participating in these reenactments? I imagine you don't really run into very many. Um,
yeah,
does your faith kind of inform your, I don't know, view on it any differently, or um, give you things to
um,
think about?
well, so I actually became Orthodox in 2018. So I'd been reenacting for a while by that point, um, but I don't think becoming Orthodox has really changed my viewpoints too much on the war. Um, uh, and I don't come across many Orthodox people. I can't remember coming across anybody actually. But after becoming Orthodox, one thing that I did notice and I guess sort of stop doing is on Sundays they do a church service, which is good. That's fine. But after becoming Orthodox, I very quickly realized that that service was just as wishy-washy evangelical as you could possibly get. And so I thought, well, maybe I can do something else on Sunday mornings. And actually, anymore these days, if it's not um, a huge anniversary or something, then I won't even be on the field on Sundays. I'm going home, going to church. So I probably won't miss a Sunday until the 175th in 15 years. So, um,
Wow,
but
15 years, yeah.
yeah, because we're just finishing up the 160th now. So
Yeah, you're gonna have some gray hairs then.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I might have some already. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming everyone brings their own gear. Is that how it goes?
Yes. Yep. And if anybody's interested in getting into this, you don't need to go and drop $1,000 on stuff right away. Every good unit is going to have loaner gear for you, muskets, hats, clothing, um, and uh, that's so that you can try it out, see if it's something you want to do, because it is a significant investment. You are gonna, at the end of the day, spend about $1,000, and that may or may not include your musket. Sometimes that might be $1,000 right there. But um,
Well, are you
after
are you buying like legitimate like stuff, or like is it like actual from the time, or is it like replicas, or like what's the
replicas, yep, I
replicas?
have
Okay.
I have known a few guys to carry original muskets, and everybody thought
Wow.
that was a little bit too far because we're running around in the rain and the mud and everything. So everything should be a replica, especially uniforms.
Yeah.
Because your stuff's gonna start falling apart. I've got holes in my pants that I
Yeah.
need to patch up. But there's a lot of
And
good.
I'm assuming you don't want an Alec Baldwin moment either, right? Like,
No, and there have been accounts of that happening.
oh,
But on that note, even though it's a replica, this is a real musket. I've taken it hunting.
oh,
So the trick
really?
is, yeah, I didn't get anything. There was no deer that day. So next time, I guess. But
How accurate
uh,
is it?
that's a rifled musket. So it is going to be pretty accurate up to at least out to 600 yards. Um,
That's really good.
but
Wow.
shooting it offhand, you've got a 5 foot pole that you're trying to hold out there, so it takes a bit of practice.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, that was part of why the war was so bloody. We were fighting a modern. Uh, we were using modern equipment to fight. An ancient war, Napoleonic War. So
mm.
these muskets good for several hundred yards, and we were getting within a few hundred, like 2 or 300 yards of each other before opening up and just
Okay, that's a good point because and I guess this is more Revolutionary War, but I always wondered the whole like lining up and then just like firing at each other. You just put it in a way that I don't know why I never understood it that way, but it's like we're fighting as if it was like the old days, but we had modern technology that the tactics hadn't adjusted to, I guess, the technology that was developed at the time. That's
yeah.
fascinating.
Yep. Now, I don't think they would have shifted too far. You still would have had mass groups of men engaging in formation, but it would have been at longer ranges.
Mm,
Had people figured out exactly what these rifles were capable of before throwing them into soldiers' hands. Because it's a single shot musket, and 3 shots in a minute is really darn good. So the only way to get a high volume of fire is to have a lot of men. Um, so that's why we don't see tactics change until later on. The Spanish American War, things started changing when the equipment started changing quite a bit. But then even later in the war, there was a lot of trench warfare that sort of set the tone for what World War I was going to look like.
mm,
Um, it was not pleasant.
mm.
Lower rates of fire, no machine guns, but um, still there was some changes starting to be made. But the war ended before, thankfully, the war ended before tactics had to make a complete switch.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. Um, are there any like Civil War movies that you think are pretty true to what you know about the war?
Um, Well, I mean, we have the movies that we really like, Gettysburg and Glory. But any of these movies, you can always pick apart. Somebody with a sharp eye can be like, "Oh, that's not right." I once watched at the campfire 2 guys argue about what color a wagon was painted, what shade of blue, but they are both using black and white pictures to prove their point. So any Civil War movie can be picked apart like no other.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's awesome.
but
I can tell by the
yeah,
pixels.
yes, and I was sitting there staring at both of them like I got to go do something else. I can't I can't take this.
That's fun. Um,
Yeah.
are you semi-retired from it, or are you still doing it?
Well, so I was thinking about that a little bit. I think semi-retired is a good way to put it, because there's sort of a life cycle to reenactor, and you'll see this when you go out there. You're going to see, several younger guys and a lot of older guys, maybe some middle-aged guys with their sons, but guys our age with young sons, it gets kind of difficult. So,
Yeah.
but I did tell my wife I'm not selling anything because I'm going to get back into it as soon as I can. So, yeah.
Was she like, oh, I can't wait till he gets rid of all that stuff?
No, thankfully not. No, no. She actually on her first date, I told her about Civil War reenacting, and she didn't get up and leave, but she told me that she liked the dresses and stuff from that time, and I took her to one of our Christmas parties and had her in a nice period
Oh, that's
gown.
cute. Yeah.
So she enjoys it, and eventually I would like to make it a family affair where we're all going out. And you do see that you see whole families of reenactors out doing their thing, and because at the end of the day, it is a friendly event during the day. There's a lot of drinking after the sun goes down, but um, uh, especially the unit that I was in, they were big on that being family friendly and bring your kids and because people are just looking to have a good time. Very few people are actually trying to fight the war again, but there are probably a few of them.
It is kind of funny to talk about war simulation as a family friendly
Yeah,
event.
well, yeah, see, and that went way over my head because I just go and have fun, and so. But you're right. Yes, and I just got done saying how terrible it was, and now I'm saying it's a family friendly. Come show your
Well,
kids.
I mean, like if I, knew about this when I was young, I would have been like, this is awesome. Cause like,
Yeah,
just like you said, I get to camp and shoot people like that.
yeah,
Like what more does a little boy want? I mean, that's why we play video games these days, right? So,
yeah. This is a great substitute for that. A much more expensive substitute,
much more
but
expensive.
yeah, Yeah, but at the end of the day, once you have all your gear, you're good to go. I mean, it's not gonna, expire. There's not gonna be a new fashion coming in. Nobody's gonna release something new. So, you're gonna be set for the rest of your life once you get a good kit. Um,
That's
so
a good point, and I like that because, like you were saying, you have holes in your pants and stuff. I like when
yeah,
gear gets really worn and like used up,
yes,
and
yep,
it's like you feel like you're an actual soldier when you're like getting in the weeds and in the trenches, so to speak, and actually getting
yeah,
your gear, your kit dirty.
yep.
Um, I was always interested in. I wouldn't really say the military, but like I have a soldier's heart, I guess you could say. So I love guns. I love gear. I love LARPing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like when I go shooting with my friends, we call it LARPing. Putting on war belts and body armor and all that stuff. Um, so I totally relate to that, and especially the camping aspect too. I love the outdoors and just kind of being out in the elements. And but to do that in a low like a low tech way, I guess you could say. I don't want to say low tech, but you know what I'm saying. Like when you're in literally like 19th century equipment and clothing, that's really cool. Really really respectable.
yeah. Well, and that's the other part of the fun is, you get to fall off the face of the earth for a weekend. No cell phone,
Mm.
nothing. It's you disappear into the camp and hang out for a few days, and then on Monday morning, get punched in the face by the 21st century. But the break is really nice. It's really nice.
Do you guys have like modern lighting, or do you use like candlelight or something at camp?
So, the we use a lot of candles and lanterns and stuff,
That's
but
awesome.
there's two schools of thought with reenacting. You got the mainstream, which they're gonna have uh, coolers and cots and stuff, but everything's gonna be covered up during the day. So it looks period authentic. But then you've got the campaigners, where there is the only stuff you can have is the stuff they had in 1863, and that's it. And even down to the food you're eating. You're eating hardtack and whatever else that they could have, beef jerky that you made from home. You're not bringing canned food and warming it up over the fire, sort of deal. So,
Well, they better not
it
make anything with a modern stove because that's
yeah, no, no, no. We even in the mainstream unit that I was in, we still everything was over the campfire, and it was all really delicious. So,
that's awesome. I would
yeah,
definitely
we
be a
had a
campaigner.
yeah, and I would love to do that too. I need a rucksack first.
Mm.
Uh, but some of those guys, especially at some of the 150th events, they actually did march, 10 miles to get to the battlefield and then jumped right into it.
Wow.
Um, and I say that like that's a huge accomplishment. But uh, people don't.
I wouldn't shake your head at 10 miles. That's
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
trek.
yes, especially wearing, what that wool,
Yeah.
in let's say they were going to Gettysburg, that's early July, that's stinking hot.
Oh,
Uh,
good lord.
yeah, yeah, and then the mainstream guys roll up in their F-350s and are
Yeah, air
unloading
conditioned.
everything, and
Yeah.
yep, yep. So I I'm a mainstream reenactor, because that's the unit I was in, but I would absolutely
Well, you're
love
a
to
dad. We
do the
forgive
campaigner
you.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you gotta draw the line somewhere, I guess, but
That's cool though.
yeah.
I used to rock when I was in my 20s. This is more like modern warfare simulating type thing. Like there was a company that used to hold these like simulated events where just kind of like give a little experience to civilians on what military life is like. And so we'd all have like rucksacks full of sand and bricks and whatever, and then just like march and do
Yeah.
PT. So that's what I was doing for fun when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, well, you should
So,
be a campaigner then. That's
yeah,
right up your alley.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Also, I got into Red Dead Redemption 2 like a year or two ago. I got obsessed with that game, and
Yeah.
I think it takes place. like a couple decades maybe after the end of the Civil War, because there's like some Civil War like you know regalia or whatever you can find like in the game, and like after playing that game, I was like, that's when I kind of got like, okay, this era is pretty cool. Like I want to be a cowboy
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
19th century and like or Civil
Yeah.
War like soldier or something. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to be actually be in the Civil War because, like you said, it was hell. It was hell.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, Speaking of campaigners, though, if they get injuries, they can only use medicinal supplies from the era. So,
Correct. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Ambulances, no thank you. Yeah. If you're hardcore, you gotta go the full 9 yards.
Exactly. Well, that's cool. When was the last time you did an event?
Um, it was, before I moved to Florida, I think it was what year is it now? 26. So I think it was late 24, and that was in northern Iowa. Um, so that was one of those smaller events I was talking about. But I think I think we had like 200 guys on the field total and a couple of artillery pieces.
Wow,
Um,
200 is a lot.
yeah, yeah. I mean, people, we got that many because people came from all over. Like for me, it was like a 4 hour drive to get to this podunk town. And so yeah, people were coming from you know Minnesota, South Dakota, all over the place to meet up for this, and it was a good little event. The way it works at a reenactment is on Friday there's never a battle. Maybe doing some drills and getting used to it again because usually it's been a couple weeks since you've done anything. Saturday, there'll be some events in the morning. Uh, just like demonstrations, a medical tent demonstration, or I've even done like we did a recruitment pitch one time, trying to get the crowd to
Mm.
enlist in the U.S. Army. We had no takers, but we tried. um, and then the afternoon is when the battle is, and it, you know, half an hour. Basically, sometimes we'll go until we run out of ammo, and then we decide, hey, I guess you guys won this time.
Well,
Because at those little events,
so you have
it's
ammo? Sorry
oh
to
yeah,
interrupt.
yes, yes, it's absolutely real.
So what are you
Loaded
shooting at each
to
other?
so we don't have any projectile. It's just the powder load
Okay, okay,
in the little paper packet, and you rip it off and dump it down the muzzle and blast away. But it's full
okay.
70
Gotcha, gotcha.
grains.
So
Yep,
when you say you run
yep,
out of ammo, you run out of those packets of powder, basically.
yep,
Okay,
yep,
gotcha.
yep.
I was like, whoa. I'm like, okay, it's really,
Oh yeah,
really
yeah,
real.
yes, yeah. That I think is why families should come because you can read as much as you want about the Civil War, but until you hear it,
Mm,
it's. But if people want to, and if you want to look this up too, there's a video on YouTube from the 150th Gettysburg. That is the Battle of Culp's Hill, and it's this Confederate guy who had his camera with him, and it's kind of like dusk and all it's just thunderous musket fire. It's phenomenal. And I was on the opposite side of him. And
mm.
and we were deep in the woods. And that was a situation where like yeah, we were putting on a show, but there was no way a spectator could see it. That was just for us. And
Oh,
it felt I mean like if it was everything about the Civil War except the fear of death. It I mean, there were a couple of
wow.
times when I would hear a shot go off and be like, "Oh, wait a second! Oh, no, wait, they're not actually shooting at me. It's just a blank." But with the environment being in the woods and it going on the going through the evening and so many men there, there's 10,000 men there that day. Um,
What?
yeah, the 150th was a big deal.
Damn.
So, um, but you can still get experiences like that at the smaller events. But actually being able to attend and see it and hear it, that'll do wonders for your understanding of the
Okay,
war.
yeah. I started looking it up when you were talking about it. So, Battle Culp's Hill. Do I say like reenactment or something?
Um, yeah, maybe do Gettysburg 150.
Gettysburg
I was
150.
just watching this a couple days ago, so I can probably pull it up too.
Okay, yeah, I see the video. Actually, you know what? Let's just pull it up so our viewers can enjoy this glory
Yeah.
because I actually want to watch this right now. Oh my god! Well, that sounds like war.
Yeah. Yeah. It was phenomenal.
So you're in this?
Yep. Yeah, I
Wow.
was on the other side of those earthworks. So
Okay, so that guy falling over on the left is like he just decides, oh, I got hit. Like, how does that
yes.
work?
Yeah. So you really do just sort of decide, oh, I'm going to take a hit here. But
Mm,
there is a little bit of a calculation that you got to do. If you're portraying an actual battle, we know who won. So if the Confederates won, then the Federals obviously have to take more hits, more people have to die. So you got to keep that in
mm,
the back of your mind, and vice versa. There
mm,
are other situations, especially at smaller events, where um, you might do like a tactical scenario where the goal is to capture the enemy's artillery. And
mm.
the one I remember most doing that, nobody took any hits. We were just blasting away at each other. But it was still a lot of fun because it was a war of maneuvers,
Mm,
because that was the only way, because we weren't actually causing casualties. There was no way to forcefully stop anybody. So the only way to win the battle would be to maneuver in such a manner that um, the artillery was captured. Uh,
mm,
so you do sort of play it by ear. The most important rule with taking a hit is always do it in the shade, always land on your back, canteen on your chest, so you can take
oh,
drinks and you're in
yeah.
the shade because you're dead. You're not supposed to be moving around, uh,
You can't
especially if
pull out your
there's a
phone
whole
and start
crowd.
scrolling Instagram or
Yeah, no, don't do that. Somebody might come by and actually shoot you.
something. That's what the pistols in the back pocket are for.
Yes, yes, absolutely. One of the campaigners will come and finish you off.
Yeah, there you go. This is real, son.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. In your experience with reenacting and just your general like research in the history of it, have you learned anything or like taken anything that you've applied like to the present day to your own life? I know that's a weird question, but I'm like a very pragmatic guy, and I kind of measure the value of ideas, like how I can apply it to my life. And so I'm always interested in seeing how kind of random, not random, but like niche things can be, you can learn from them and maybe make connections with other niche things and just kind of enhance your understanding of the world, so to speak. But have you had any
Hmm.
kind of like moments like that where you've reached a new level of understanding?
Well, it might be a bit of a cop out, but you're trying to portray an army, and an army has to have discipline, and so that's an easy thing to take into the rest of your life, because it's really obvious when a formation goes wrong because people aren't listening. It's embarrassing. Everybody sees that half the units moving, half of it isn't, or people are splitting off in wrong directions and things like this. So having a cohesive unit that follows orders and knows what they're doing, taking that into the office and knowing that, okay, this is my job, this is the best way to accomplish it, and we should all work together to get it done the way a 19th century army would work together. um so that's probably kind of my easy answer to that, my cop out, but
No, I
um
think that's a very valid answer. You know, uh, like it's an expression of unity, right? When a regiment is moving together, because I think that's a big thing that the modern world, especially the West, kind of doesn't understand anymore. And I'm going to get into what I mean by that. Like, essentially, the hierarchy, right? How the the unifier is kind of at the top, and unless every level of the hierarchy is under the umbrella of the unifier, whatever that is, it could be a sports team, it could be, Civil War regiment. Um, if the people are not following, the hierarchy, then you lose that unity, you lose that cohesiveness, just like you said, and it can be noticed. It's obvious, right? And especially in a war scenario, it's deadly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and the reason I say that the West and the modern West kind of doesn't understand that anymore is just because of the hyper individualism we have in culture these days, where it's like we can't even work together, right? It's like being in a team is so difficult because that requires personal sacrifice, number one, compromise,
Yep.
so, and in that, under that umbrella is sacrificing your ego a little bit, which
Yeah.
is hard for us to do when we live in a society that's all about feeding ego and growing ego. So
Yeah.
I think that's a very
I'm sure it
observation.
I'm sure it's been hard for everybody throughout history, but, our ancestors, were able to set themselves aside to be able to accomplish things, and we've forgotten that. I mean, I don't have an answer to how to get back to that, but that is a wonderful point.
Yeah. Well, Christ is the answer. That's always going to be
I'm
my
into that.
go-to,
Yes, sir.
the ultimate
Yeah.
unifier, right? Um,
Yes. Yep.
so, and that's what I want to do with the body static is kind of always relate things back to Christ. Um, that's why, like, I love to have these conversations, even though they may not, on the surface, seem like a religious conversation. But uh, our spiritual life permeates every aspect of reality, uh, because the spiritual world is the real world, right? Um, the metaphysical under the surface of the physical is is the true reality, and what we've experienced in the physical is a manifestation of what's happening in the metaphysical. So yeah. Anyways, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I always want to relate things back to Christ and back to the church, and
Yeah. Well, I will
um,
say, the campfire is a great place to evangelize because people are sitting
yeah,
around ready to talk. So, I'm not saying that I've done that, but thinking about it, that is a wonderful situation to, uh, spread the good word and
yeah,
then go
yeah,
shoot at
definitely.
somebody the next day.
Yeah. Well, see, that's another thing is like war. Um, I'll just say war has a place, um, mostly because we live in a fallen world, right? Just accepting the fact that we're post fall. So when I say war has a place, I mean that it's kind of a natural consequence of living in a post fall reality, and that's one thing that I think Orthodoxy accepts. That fact is because it's, how do I put this, like, Orthodoxy accepts the reality of war, and I feel like a lot of other denominations, Christian denominations, even, kind of want to, like, section that off as like this.
Yeah.
They don't want to think about it, right? Um, but you've seen videos of priests blessing guns and bombs and things like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and
Yep. Yep.
soldiers, right? Orthodox
Mhm.
soldiers going into battle, um, because at the end of the day, we are peaceful as Christians, right? We don't go taking life, but we also defend the weak and the innocent. And when our loved ones are threatened, it's our duty to protect them. So, and I love that the Orthodox Church also recognizes that even if you do participate in war, you are sinning. Like, even though I'm getting blessed by a priest, if I go into battle and I kill someone, like, that is murder. And so you have to confess that, you have to repent from that, you have to do penance, because it does damage your soul spiritually. And that requires, work and cooperation with God's grace to heal from that wound, that spiritual wound. And so I think we can even make this a whole nother topic on another time, talking about war and, under the context of the Christian worldview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll give you a couple episodes probably.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't know if I'm, like, uh, spiritually advanced enough to talk too much about it, but
Yeah, me probably not me either, but I could probably research quite a bit and
Yeah,
be able to say the right things.
yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool, man. So hopefully you're not going to wait 15 years for your next uh, reenactment, right? You got any plans to do anything soon ish?
Um, well, so I've got another son coming, so in the very short term, no. But the reenactment of the Battle of Olustee, and I probably butchered that. All these Florida place names, I it's a foreign language, but Battle in North Florida, the largest battle down here. That reenactment is, I think it's February 14th through 16th, and
Mm.
that's going to be a big deal. So I'd love to go
Valentine's
to
Day
that.
weekend.
Ah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, so hey, take your girlfriends, take your wives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very romantic, I
Very
promise.
romantic. You'd be like on the battlefield, like, ah, my leg.
Yeah, yeah.
Wife, come heal me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my wife might. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know. You just gotta find the right girl, I guess.
that's right. Definitely a keeper.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Do you plan on
Yeah.
like making this, when your kids come of age? Are you gonna teach them about this and try to get them into it?
Yes. Yep, yep. I'm definitely gonna, let them get their feet wet and let them decide if this is something they wanna do or not. Um, because I really enjoy it. Uh, I I mean, this might be, uh, you know, brushing, things away a bit, but, I don't see any downsides to reenacting. Just it's just, a great thing to do, and easy way to get outside. So, I would love for my sons or any, if I have any daughters, my daughters to get into it. But if they don't want to, that's fine. But they do have to find something to be interested in and doing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like the historical preservation of this hobby, especially in the I guess what do you want to call it, post 2020 atmosphere of like tearing down our statues,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Um, I think forgetting history is always a bad thing, even if it's a hard and harsh history we don't want to remember.
hmm
Um, but that age old, phrase, history repeats itself. And it's so freaking true, man. Like, um, I'm always saying that the Bible is like a rubric of reality because it shows you those cycles of those historical cycles because they're human cycles. I mean, history is just humans being humans, and humans tend to repeat the same patterns over and over. And if we don't recognize those patterns, and you can recognize them through history, I'd obviously argue as a Christian, it's you can recognize them even deeper through the Bible, through Scripture. You can learn to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past and the mistakes of our fathers, right? And if we're
yeah,
just tearing down our statues, then we're just creating a future where we're just going to repeat the same mistakes.
yeah. Well, I actually had a brush with somebody who was on the side of tearing down things. It was at a small reenactment back home, and he came into our camp, and the first thing he said,
Mm.
he expressed how happy he was that we didn't have a Confederate flag, and so I kind of looked at him and was like, well, first of all, we're uh, a federal unit. We would not have a Confederate flag, like absolutely not. But the guys on the other side of the hill, they've got one, and he was shocked. He's like, "No way, no, they can't have that." It's like, yes, they're a Confederate unit, so they need a Confederate flag. Like
Yeah, how are we going to
it's
reenact
as
this
simple as that.
battle if they
Yeah, yeah.
if there are no
And
Confederates? Like it's just
yeah,
federal.
it was. I mean, but that you know, if we hadn't had a course correction of sorts in 2016, that could have been the future we were looking at, where any symbol of the Confederacy was to be wiped away. I think there still would be reenactments, but you wouldn't have the flags or insignia. Um, uh,
Mm.
I think guys would probably still wear gray because you got to be able to tell whose side's on what. But it would not be reenacting as it should be, which is simply trying to portray as it was. Um, So so we could have we could have gone there, but I have hope now that we won't, and there's a lot of guys like us who aren't going to let that happen, and if guys like us get into reenacting, obviously we're going to try to show things as it was, which includes Confederate flags. Um, or if the tables get turned and the 34 star flag is on the chopping block, well, at a reenactment you're still going to see it.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So we're getting close to top of the hour. As far as like closing comments, if someone watching this is interested in getting into Civil War reenactments, what would be your what would be your advice or direction for them to get started?
Um, I would do a search online for reenactments near you, and try to attend one in person and just go and talk to the guys there. Because then you're meeting them one on one, and you can sort of get a feel for what they're up to and figure out when their meetings are or anything. If there's not any reenactments for a while, or you're in an area where there's not much going on, just doing a search for reenactment units and then include like your city name or your state region or whatever. That's a great start, but just like with Orthodox churches, you're going to run into a lot of websites that have not been touched in 20 years. So you gotta dig through the weeds a
Results
little
may
bit.
vary.
Results, yes, absolutely may vary. But the end goal of that then is to meet in person with somebody and dive right in. Because like I said earlier, every good unit's going to have some loaner gear, so you can go out and have fun for the weekend and try it out. And then they'll also be able to point you in the right direction of which shops to go through to get various items. And you do not need to buy everything all at once. Start
Mm,
with your shoes, your brogans, and then work up from there. The musket is the last thing you need because
mm,
there will always be loaner muskets. So it it does take money, but a couple $100, here and there. If you want to be really slow about it, just buy one item a year, um, and eventually you'll have a full uniform and ready to rock and roll.
cool. Yeah. And this is my personal advice: bring a bottle of something to make easy friends, quick friends, right?
That Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That will get you invited to a lot of reenactments.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome, brother Justin. I appreciate you coming on to the Body Aesthetic. Really interesting topic, really interesting conversation. And, may it be blessed. Keep up the tradition, extend it down to the children, and let's keep history alive, folks. Right? The South will rise again. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay, bud.
I'm going to have to edit that out. Well, it's been such a pleasure, Justin. I'm going to end it there, I think.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.